Hello and welcome back to the Perth to Paisley podcast, episode number 166, and it is our Heart of Midlothian end of season review for 2023-24. I, as ever, am Daniel McIver and I'm joined by Adam Kennedy. Adam, how are you?
Yeah, all right, McIver. I kind of need to apologise straight off the bat for how long this episode has taken to come around. It's with personal circumstances that are out with my control. Obviously, I don't want to touch on them too much. That kind of put a spanner in the works, and I was left feeling pretty low. So we're back again, finally to chat about a brilliant season, and hopefully it's going to be plenty of positives from here on in. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to the Euros. Pleased for Lauren Shankland, of course, from a Hearts perspective, that he
Yep.
got that goal against Finland to hopefully lead the line in Germany, which the eyes of the world will be on Scotland and him. So yeah, that's quite exciting. But yeah, all in all, feeling pretty good. Yeah, you?
I am not too bad. As you can all probably hear in my voice, I'm getting over an illness, which is also why we kind of push this back a wee bit as well. So if I sound really emotional about the season, it's just that I've got a knackered throat. I'm not just thinking back to that derby at New Year too much. Although I imagine we will touch on that at some point in this episode. But yes, this is our yearly, obviously, season review. We're going to go through a whole bunch of different categories, players, look back on our predictions at the start of the year, which they're going to be interesting as well when we go back and see that. But to start off, a quick little review of the season. Of course, it was Stephen Naismith's first proper year in charge after he had the final six games of last season in terms of 22, 22, 23.
I
But
genuinely thought it was more than 6 games. Sorry to cut you off straight off the bat.
I actually think it was seven. I think I'm just thinking of it now. I
I'm
think
not
it was
I'm
seven.
not looking to correct you. I honestly thought it was more than 6 games, but
It was six or seven. It was six or seven. And
I'm fine with that. I just didn't think it was as little as that.
yeah, there was a lot of talk about the appointment, and we didn't get off to the best start, having probably the easiest opening fixtures that we'd had in a few years, and getting beat by the likes of Dundee and Motherwell at home, especially that latter
No
one.
draw with Kelly.
0-0 draw with Kelly, and it wasn't looking too great. But then we go on this historic run. We beat Celtic twice, home and away. We get to both cup semi-finals. The less we speak about what happened in them, the better. That doesn't matter. And crucially, we get third place in kind of the last season where it really matters, because it's the last season where you're guaranteed to go into European League football, because it's not group stages anymore. It's whatever you actually call it, just the European leagues.
Thanks to the coefficient, sliding after we did so well to initially build it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it all gone to pot. So
yeah.
that's
But
that's good.
fuck it, we're the last benefiters of it, so that I'll take that. And overall, it's being viewed as a very successful season. Our third highest points total since 2006. Just ridiculous in terms of any season for a Hearts team. But considering we've got a rookie manager, rookie in air quotes, to do what we've done is incredible. So, generally, what have your thoughts been looking back now over the season as a whole?
Um, I think this season has taught me to perhaps be a bit more patient. I think that this season has taught me to try and look for positives when there aren't necessarily a great deal of them. And I think that this season has made me just fall in love with having a consistent goal scoring striker that we've missed for the vast majority of our lives. So I'm really pleased with how the season's gone, to be honest. I really am, considering you said that, and you're right, that it was a bit of a shaky start.
Yep.
I had the fear as to where this was going, particularly with the fact that Stephen Naismith wasn't all that experienced, that he'd had a handful of games taken over from Robbie Nielsen as interim. The whole charade and kind of onlookers in Scottish football surrounding the management situation and the loophole to compete in Europe and just the whole facade at that point. I think we've done pretty well to overcome that and actually just kind of knuckle down and have another really solid Scottish Premiership showing, which is exactly what we're after. We're after that dosh to compete in Europe. Um, and do you know, it's funny because we're going to enter the Europa League playoff. So it's not even like we should immediately write off and settle for the
Yeah.
conference like we did previously. Like we could end up even better off than we initially thought. So I'm really happy with how the season's gone. Um, I'm probably owe Stephen Naismith an apology. I'm
Yeah.
probably owe the vast majority of the playing squad an apology. Because it's been a really good campaign, a really enjoyable campaign, and one that I hope that we can replicate in 24-25.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a perfect summary. It's kind of had everything you want a good Heart season to have. Derby wins, big moments, in particular, the main one being the Rosenborg game at Tynecastle. Just
That was brilliant.
getting the experience of that
Can I say,
was,
McIver, like we're obviously of a generation where we hear about great European nights at
yeah,
Tynecastle. We've had fewer than I think we'd like,
yeah,
and I could see why older generations bang on about those European nights because that was a taster of one that we've not really had, not an occasion like it, but certainly a moment like that Devlin winner. I think that was absolutely huge for us as a football club.
definitely. And as you say, we've just got a guy who can just score loads and hundreds of
It's
goals.
great fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. And that's a good segue into the playing squad itself, which has been, for me, one of the biggest tellings of this season in terms of successes has been that for so much of it, you kind of felt that you knew the team before it was coming out. The one thing was going to be what's the formation? That was something that we could never guess. But what always makes a good season is when you have like 6 or 7 names that you just go, yep, they'll be a part of the team. And I feel like generally we've had that this season.
Yeah, I think there's only a couple positions that are not questionable, but certainly you've got a couple contenders, and there's nobody that's really nailed down that first team spot.
Yeah,
Whereas I think
definitely.
if you've got a decent enough core, like you mentioned, and just players that are dependable, that's it's absolutely massive. Obviously, we're going to chat about one of them who I really hope sticks around. But in terms of others, it's not as though my fear is that people look at Hearts as a one-man band, which you would understand given, of course, a certain someone's goal-scoring exploits. But it's imperative that we've got central defenders to rely upon, midfielders to protect them, and ideally look to carve out some chances, players in the wide areas that can contribute, full-backs, wing-backs that bomb on. Like it's not solely down to him. And it's a really good squad actually. It's a good squad that needs a couple tweaks, yeah, but for the most part should easily go again next campaign.
Absolutely. So, moving into the squad, we're going to cover every single player that featured at least 5 times because a minimum of 5, you're featuring enough that you've done something. Theoretically, we may get to some people
I
who we
was going
don't
to
feel
say,
like we have done something, but generally that is the rule. And now people will think I've got a motive behind this, but I only discovered this when I was making this list. As I
so he
understand,
says.
if I've missed anybody else out, let me know. And you might even notice as I get through this list and you go, what about so and so? But I think the only player that we won't be talking about is Andy Halliday, who only made 3 appearances for Hearts this season, all in the League
That's
Cup.
wild.
Yeah, pretty mad. And then he obviously went, he let now a big part of that is that he left in January. So it's
Yeah.
not just he was sat about. But we will go from back to front. So we start with one of those people who has probably had one of his best seasons ever. I think he said it on his Instagram actually, for a personal reason. And we start with Xander Clark. What would you give? So we're going to go from A plus all the way down. What would you give Xander Clark?
I'd give him at least a B plus.
Right?
What's that face for?
because I thought I was going to get shit because it's been a theme of this season that I've maybe wanted Xander Clark dropped, not because of anything he's done, but
Oh
because
no,
of who he isn't.
what have you done?
So I thought you were going to have the higher grade, but I've
Oh
given
wow.
Xander Clark an A because I
Have
think
you?
in terms of what
Fair
Xander
enough.
Clark has been asked to do,
I
he's
honestly
been
thought you were
pretty
going to go lower than
perfect.
that.
No,
I'm more than happy to bump that up because I agree. I think for me, he's probably been our most overlooked or underappreciated
yeah,
player
that's
this
fair.
season.
Yeah, definitely.
I really do. I think we touch on it near enough every week. When you've got a player that is as adored, as revered as Craig Gordon is amongst the support, it's very tough to fill those boots, or in this case, those gloves. And second only in clean sheets to Jack Butland of Rangers in the league this season, been excellent. And he was one that our start, when it was so shaky, he thought there'd maybe be a couple errors. But a massive part of the run that we went on was because we had somebody that can score goals, yeah, but can also keep them out at the other end. I think Xander Clark's been excellent and thoroughly deserved his Scotland call up as well for the Euros.
Definitely. So, what are you bumping your B plus up to?
I'm cool to go with an A. I'm
Right,
more than
cool.
happy with it. I honestly thought you'd be a lot harsher than that purely because of
C
your
plus
adoration
because you're
and
not
love
as
for
handsome as Craig
Craig
Gordon.
Gordon.
But anyway, speaking about the handsome man that he is, Craig Gordon managed to actually feature 11 times for us this season over multiple competitions, namely in the Scottish Cup. He played every single round of that competition. I'm just going straight. I could never give him anything less than a B, so I've went with a B
Okay.
because I'm just like he did from the games he was in. I don't think I can think of a goal he conceded where I'm like, Xander Clark saved that. I just think he came in, conceded goals I think Xander would have conceded, made saves that Craig Gordon makes, and I love him. I'm never going low. Craig Gordon could keep no clean sheets in a season, and I'd still be giving him a B. But this is my biased one, right? Fuck he's all.
I'm going to be critical and go for a C.
Shocking. Not even a C plus. What's happening?
No, just a C. I think he's done what we'd expect. I think a lot of this is tough because do you ultimately like players have set such standards that
Yeah.
they're not really exceeding the standards, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, totally.
Like, so I can't give Craig Gordon an A because that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whereas a B, has he exceeded what I'd expect of him? In my opinion, no. C, I just I I'm really this is such a tricky conundrum for Stephen Naismith heading into next season.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
what do you actually do?
I know.
I
I
like
know.
I think Craig Gordon is heading towards the end.
I think this will be his last year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised if I was going to say if he's gone in a huff after the Scotland malarkey and just thinks I'm done. But I don't think
I
he's.
think he'll want to have. I think he'll
I
want
think
to
he'll
say
want
he's
one more
played for
season at
us
least.
in Europe again and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like being there and kind of go out on top where he's not obviously past it or anything like that.
But how do you then drop Clark, or how do you then say to
Oh
Xander
no,
Clark,
I
look,
just mean in terms of I think it'll be quite a similar situation where it's been this towards the
you think
final
you'll get like
third.
European games or whatever,
I think they'll
and just
kind of
keep
just
Xander domestically?
maybe not as cut and dry as that, but I think they will swap a lot more.
Interesting. Interesting.
But I think Xander will be told this is kind of his last year. We're giving him this
I,
next year and onwards. You're our number one.
I just feel like recently he's not. I can't be too harsh because I love Craig Gordon, but I just feel like recently he's
It
done
is
himself.
Craig Gordon.
I know,
Remember?
I know. But recently he's done himself no favors for us and Scotland. And that's terrible to say.
I don't give a
But
fuck about Scotland.
that Finland friendly,
I see. I literally
I
haven't
felt
seen
from.
a second of that.
Oh.
So,
And
but
even then,
that's not
I'm
what
thinking back to the Livingston game toward the end of the season where
that
you
was just
just felt
funny.
like I know, but it just is. Oh,
In fairness, that was his like first league game in a year and a bit.
I know, but it's
I
easy
know
to
what
see
you
that
I
there's
know what
a
you mean
rustiness.
generally. Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. I am openly being like Craig Gordon could play no games and I'd give him a B just for kicking about. Like he is my one that I have a complete blind spot to and I'm biased because he's my favorite football player of all time. So I'm just like, yeah.
I'm sticking to the C. I'm sorry, Craig. Oh, you're not gonna give a shit
He's a
about.
loyal listener. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Right. We then
But it's
move.
just it's sad.
It is. It is. I'm going to be a fucking Mets next
There's
season.
not gonna be a dry eye in the
Oh
house
my
when
God.
if he does decide to pack it in.
I am sorry to report that Michael McGovern doesn't make it onto this list, considering he never featured for the club. So,
Featured more for Livingston as a Hearts
yeah,
player than he did Hearts,
exactly.
so that's fine.
We move on to the back line. And I've not done
I'm
this
worried
in
here.
really order. I've kind of went with centre halves first for some
Okay,
reason. Frankie Kent.
at least an A.
I have gone A plus because I
Yeah,
don't
don't
know
blame you.
what more a
No,
new
don't blame you.
signing can come in and do.
Arguably one of the signings of the season in Scotland.
Yeah,
Our best centre half by a million miles, and ever present till toward the end of the campaign. Just really good and
yeah,
exceeded expectations. So yeah, A plus. I'm happy to give.
perfect. What
Totally
a
agree.
hero. I can't wait to have him in Europe. It's going to be absolutely class.
And his songs a lot of fun to sing as well.
Yes, exactly. We then move on to the guy who has partnered him more than any other player this season, and it is Kai Rolls. I've went with a solid B because I think Kai Rolls gets underappreciated a lot. I saw the stats that the Hearts Standard came out with a week or 10 days ago, and it was like Kai Rolls is in the upper echelons in the league in pretty much every area, apart from the one area that people always point out, and like ground duels one, he was low in that. But I think he's massively underappreciated and very key to the way that we play. And I think him and Kent really benefit with each other and are a good partnership.
I I'm gonna go for a B minus. I was
That's
torn
fair.
between a B minus and a C plus. I don't think he's been as good as he was previously. I think when he's good, he's great. When he's not so good, it's pretty evident. So maybe that leads into what you're saying in that he's imperative. If he performs, we perform,
Yeah, I think that
and
period of
vice versa.
7 weeks when he wasn't there and he was out,
His absence was felt, arguably.
I
Yeah.
remember everybody going, fucking hell, we miss Rolls. Like, he's really good at taking the ball out of the back, which, like, Kent doesn't do, which I'm not complaining about. That's not Kent's
That's
game.
not your job. No, no.
Yeah, like, and that's what I mean. They just work really well with each other. Kent will sort everything out. Rolls will then be an instigator for our play.
Okay. Yeah, you're happy with a B. Yeah. I was torn between a B minus and a C plus, so I'm gonna go B minus.
That's fair.
C plus would have been harsh.
We then move to the final centre half in terms of traditional centre halves, but we'll get to someone who's kind of just revealed themselves to be a centre half later on. Toby Sibic, what are you going for?
C.
I also went with a C because he's been fine.
Adequate, not really nailed down a spot. I think he's okay. I think there's times where his concentration is a little bit questionable. Um, I think there's also times where he recovers really well, but there shouldn't be a need to recover if you
Yeah,
do your job correctly in the first
yeah,
place. Do you see
yeah,
where I'm going?
yeah.
So I'm going for the bog standard C for Tobes. I
I'm
do
going the
like him
same.
though.
I have just realised there is another centre half here, but kind of emblematic of how his season's gone. I forgot about him, but he has played 9 times for us this season.
Big
It's
Halkett.
Craig Halkett. He played that ball
Um,
over the top to Kenny Vargas at Airdrie, and then his knee pinged.
yeah, that was his last action at
Yeah,
Airdrie. Um,
the best ball I've ever seen a defender play.
D
I,
plus.
I went with D plus because it's like, what can you say? He only played nine
Yeah,
games.
best abilities, availability, and Craig we've not seen enough, I'm
Yeah,
afraid. So been okay when called upon, but how frequently has he been called upon? D plus
definitely.
at best for me.
We then move on to the kind of left back slash left centre half because this guy's been more of a left centre half than left back this season, and it is Stephen Kingsley.
What did we give Xander Clark? An A.
I gave him an A, yeah.
I'll go for an A minus for Kingsley.
I went also with an A because I think Kingsley has
Fair enough.
probably been like the actual answer to unsung hero.
Yeah.
Out with
It's between
maybe,
them two, isn't it?
yeah,
100%.
maybe even out with Hearts fans. I think in the league, Kingsley has been exceptional. He's played every defensive position
Yeah.
this season, and he's just been back to his best, and it's been
Yeah.
amazing to see.
Yeah, it has. And again, like, just goes to show you what happens in the background of a professional footballer as
I
well.
know,
Like
yeah,
when things are going swimmingly, then it's great. The minute that something goes wrong and they don't quite perform at that same level, you then get people pouncing on them, and yeah, very much a player back to his best. Yeah, happy to go with that.
and then
Agreed.
moving to the proper, actual, out and out fullbacks slash wingbacks now. We have the guy on his side, Alex Cochrane.
This is one of the players that I was referring to about, because they've set the bar that high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking a B plus, maybe an A minus.
I went with A minus. That is what
Yeah,
I gave. And again, people might say I'm biased, but I just think like
he's just a top prospect,
7 out of
isn't he?
10 every week. Like
Yeah,
there's a reason he's
exactly.
probably leaving us for, sadly, probably
Don't
a better move in terms of his development. And
what are you talking about?
I know, I know, I don't want to accept it, but in the eyes of him, I understand it. And
Do
just
and do you know what? I'd be the first to bash Hearts if Alex Cochrane left on a free. So
yeah,
if we're get
exactly. Yeah.
if like sometimes the club can't win. Like we've got to make money.
Yep.
So if we have to sell a player to balance the books or whatever, not balance the books, but you know what I mean in terms of we've not made enough money arguably from player sales
Yeah.
over the past few seasons. So when we get one, I can't sit here and then go, "Oh, what are we selling Alex Cochrane for?" Like this is just the way of it. This is how he would have came to Hearts in the first place.
Yeah.
Come here, develop, get your move elsewhere, and it works. It works for both parties. He's a wonderful. He's the modern day fullback for me. He's got everything.
Yeah. Can
A
it not
wonderful
just be,
footballer.
can we not just like sell Toby Civic for that amount and keep
This is
Alex
why we
Cook?
can't have nice things, McIver. When it goes too well, there's bound to be something goes wrong. It's like
Yeah.
EastEnders. Hearts are like their own little soap opera.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
this is like Dirty Den returning to the square.
Yes, exactly. What a fucking comparison. Alex Cochrane leaving Hearts is like Dirty Den coming back in EastEnders. Incredible. That's made me feel old as
It's
well.
good. It's good to be back.
You've missed this, haven't you? Fucking hell. Right, we then move over to the other side. So the left-hand side of defence has got an A minus and an A. We then move over to the problem
Oh
position.
Jesus! Yeah, like I alluded to earlier, rudely.
Yeah. We have two players who haven't really been able to cement their place. One's a permanent signing, one's a loanee. We start with the permanent guy, Nathaniel Atkinson.
D.
Oh, I think that's harsh. I went with a C.
I think he's okay.
That's what my C's are. My C's are, they're fine. C's for me, by average, in the middle, fine.
I, I think
B
it.
is
I think it's
actively
because I'm
poor.
expecting more.
Okay, get you.
That I've then gone for a D. I mean, the bloke's an Australian international, but you wouldn't think it.
So's Lewis Miller, though, in the same position.
So's
It's
Martin Boyle,
true.
and
He
he's not hit
got
the
he got
heights,
a
has he?
couple of the day.
Yeah, against who?
I
There's no
think it was
Palestine or
Palestine,
somebody.
yeah.
See, this is why Australia always reach the World Cup. I mean, they play the absolute Mickey Mouse.
Every single group they have, I think I saw a stat that
Like
was
the
crazy.
UAE and Iran and all this
Yeah,
carry on.
it was something like they've never not topped the group at maximum points for the last like 8 years or something like that. Like
Because
something
they
mad.
play Donald Duck and all this.
Well,
Like,
then your point about him being an Australian international is null and void because he's playing against teams that you dare respect anyway.
So then, in theory, my grade is. Look, am I being too generous here? Should
No,
be even
no,
lower.
you need to just make it related to his performances in the Heart shirt.
I think we should be aiming for better. I think he's okay. Put it this way, I don't want to see him start at right
Yeah,
back.
that's fair.
A squad player at max for me, but he's
Yeah.
not a starter for me.
So you're going D, I'm going C. We then move to the guy who's been competing with him, Dexter Lembikisa.
I feel like he's a C.
I've just also given him a C because I think he's better than
Yeah.
Atkinson going forward, but he's worse than Atkinson defending. So they balance each other out.
And the fact that he's not a permanent Hearts player, like I think he's just not a fullback.
No, he's not. If he was to join us next season as a right winger, I'd be like, I'm
I'm
fine
cool
with
with
that.
that. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, and me.
cool.
But he ain't a fullback.
No.
Defensively suspect, like you say. Yeah, he's been all right. Grabbed a couple of goals. Been okay. Um, I think he shows flashes offensively, but yeah, I've got question marks defensively. So a C for me.
So we move into the centre of midfield where we have fucking loads of players to get through here.
Too many.
Yeah. And we start with a player that you might be biased towards because we start with Benny Beningame.
Benny Bringame B.
I've also given him a B because there's been some
Um,
games where I've been really annoyed with him. And then there's other
yeah,
games where you're like,
but
oh
he's
yeah,
been
this is why
fantastic.
he's fucking
Yeah,
incredible. And thank
yeah.
God he's staying.
And if he performed at the latter consistently, he wouldn't be at Hearts.
Yes,
So
exactly.
really pleased that he signed the new deal as well. Didn't foresee that.
Nah.
Um,
I've just realized
yeah,
I actually gave
I
him a B
I I I think
plus.
I think that's a fair assessment, to be honest. Yeah, when he's good, great. When he's not so good, it's evident. But who can't we say that about?
Yeah, exactly. We move on to the guy who's partnered him more than anyone else, Cammy Devlin.
Naomi Devlin, I feel like, I mean, that Rosenborg moment or moments alone were worthy of an A. Then he kind of went missing into the wilderness, and it appeared as though Naismith didn't really fancy him. And then towards the
Yep.
end of the season, he's got really good again. I would go for mm, B or a B minus. I'm struggling, I think.
Oh, this is
I'll,
the one where
if
we
I'm
have
going
the
Benny B, I'll go B minus, I think, for Cammy.
this is the one that we have the biggest disparity on.
Oh no, this is going to be like an A or an A plus or something for you,
I've
isn't it?
went A minus because I think
Wow,
that
really?
I
Over the
vividly
course of the season, though.
I vividly remember at the start of this season being fucking raging that he kept getting brought off in games because I was like, he is our best midfielder. What are you doing? Like when we were in Europe, obviously, it's its own thing, and he was amazing in Europe. And I remember at the start of the season, I was like, he's being made a scapegoat. This is ridiculous. What is happening? Then he got hurt and he just didn't feature for ages. And I was like, this is it. He's away. And
He's
whenever
off,
he'd
yeah.
come in, he'd do well. And then the Paul Hartleyfication of Cammy Devlin at the end. I think over the course of the season, he's been our best centre mid.
Mm, listen. There's been three outstanding players in
Yeah.
that area for me. I yeah, yeah.
I think he's had a better season
If
than
Benny's a
Benny.
B, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think I'm sticking with a B minus. I'm putting him just under Benny for me.
That's fair. And then we go with the third guy and his compatriot internationally, Callum Neuenhoff, also another new signing.
I'm really tempted to give him a B plus
I've given him a B plus. I've given him the same as Benny.
because I just think again like he was another that we started and start, but as soon as he got going,
He was just amazing. He scored that goal
oh
against Dundee and never looked back.
no, absolutely not. Since the turn of the year, he's been phenomenal, and even
Yeah.
just a little bit before that, probably about November, late November, early
I
December. I
remember
think
whenever we
he's
went up
been
to
really good.
Dingwall in like October and folk were giving me shit because I said he was man of the match on that day. And it was like, no, he's no, he's shite. And then he became the Hoff. And I'm just sat here
Yeah,
like, I saw it.
now he
I
does
saw it.
rival David Hasselhoff to be the Hoff.
Exactly.
Yeah, Yeah, I think B plus. We're both agreed with that. I
Yeah.
think I think it's pretty
I
fair.
just think we've had really good centre mids this season.
One who I'm really excited for next season as well, Callum
Yeah,
Newhoff.
definitely. The last of kind of that generation of players. Actually, he's kind of in a generation of his own. And he did play 7 games, so he just made the cut-off. 7 appearances for the departing Peter Haring. What do you give him? Like, what grade do you
Fantastic
do?
servant to the football club, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pedro, I cannot give you more than a D.
I gave him a D, the same as Halkett, because they've just not.
Wow, as Peter Haring's biggest fan, I thought you'd
Oh,
find a way to smuggle like a C plus or a, I
if you
don't know,
ask
something
me,
ridiculous in there.
if you ask me honestly, he's getting an A plus because I love him. But
Stop, stop.
looking at this season, he didn't do anything, so
No,
it's a D.
and it, look, I've been positive about Peter Haring as much as I can. I didn't want him to be kept on in the first place, but I can't look like overlook his loyalty and his service to Hearts. He's been a brilliant servant. So I truly do wish him the best. But we shouldn't have come to this.
Yeah.
Is my thing.
And then we kind of have the new crop, where for the first time in what feels like fucking ages, we actually had an emergence of young talent come through. One of which
Are
was
you just
told,
going sitters and then like attacking
yeah,
performance? Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
we're
Yeah, because
literally going as
I'm
back
thinking,
to front as
you're missing a
possible.
couple. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I do apologize.
The first name was a guy who was told at the start of it, well, at the end of last season, that he was going to be away, that he didn't have a future at Hearts. But then I think the first thing Naismith did was give Aidan Denham a new deal. I
And a
feel,
chance.
and Aidan Denham then has gone on to technically, if you look at sub appearances, that has actually made 21 appearances over the course of the season.
Wow.
What would you give Aidan Denham?
C plus.
I've also went C plus for Aidan Denham.
I think he's not. Look, he'd have to do really well to nail down a spot given the competition that we've
Yeah,
got in midfield. Um, but I do like him. I think he gives us something different. I think it's such a lazy thing to say, but I can't think of a better way to sum it up. But he is a fan on the
yeah.
park.
We see that with Stephen Kingsley's free kick at Celtic, and he's just running towards him, waving his arms. It's what
But I
we'd
feel
all
like
be
he works
doing.
his bollocks off anyway. Like
Yeah,
as you tried to, or as I tried to, if it was us in that
just with a
position.
lot
So
less ability in our cases than he's running about and showing ability.
and stamina in
Yeah,
Mike.
exactly. We'd last literally less than a minute, and then we'd both be fucked.
I know the absolute audacity of me to decide to make a podcast that can't kick my own arse.
I do have functioning knees, mate. We're the worst
So
too. Look at us going, Craig Halkett and Peter Haring. You get a D.
I know, absolute scumbaggery. But I'm past caring in life. Yeah, in Dedham, I like.
Yeah,
I think he's another that I've got high hopes for.
definitely.
So yeah, has looked really good and mental to think that we were on the verge of letting him wander away for free. Absolutely
Crazy.
crazy.
Crazy. And then somebody even younger than him came in
Oh
out
my
of
God.
nowhere. And Macaulay Tate, I'll just immediately say I've went B minus. One better than
Fair.
Aiden Denham because I can't. The unfortunate thing for
You'd argue
Macaulay
his
Tate,
ceiling's higher, isn't it? I
yes,
think.
definitely. You can tell Macaulay Tate is just, we are not going to be where he remains for,
No.
I don't even think that much longer, to be honest. But we did well. We got him 2028. We've got him secured down. It's fine. But the problem for Macaulay is that a lot of people will go, well, it was his fault in the semi-final that we ended up losing that game, which it wasn't. Yeah, he physically lost the ball, but Todd Cantwell had then 60 yards to run and the goal to be scored.
And also we were getting beat before he lost the
Yeah,
ball.
exactly.
It's not like it was even tied or we'd scored or like we were already in a
Whatever.
losing
Yeah.
position anyway.
But apart from that, I think that sticks out to a lot of people because it feels like that's the first time he actually made a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like if he was Spanish or something, or like
Yeah,
from somewhere that's more glamorous, people would be ranting and raving
Coutinho.
about him. Yeah,
It would be he'd be at Man City already.
exactly. Like I just feel like he's not helped by the nation that he comes from, and our league in the current format that it's in. Um, yeah, his ceiling is it looks really high. Again, I hope he's not one because we've seen it countless times down the years where there's a young prospect that looks really promising. He's either burnt out or he's not given enough game time. Their career just fizzles out and then they're rotting away in the Scottish lower leagues before we know it. I hope and I believe that we will take care of him. We'll look after him as best as we can, and then from there the sky's the limit. He really excites me.
Very much so. You couldn't have basically said a better sentence to transition into the next guy because Macaulay Tate really excites Adam. Someone that we know does not excite Adam is the wonderful George Grant. Where would you put the odd one out amongst all these midfield? We've been pretty much universally positive about this lot. Where would you put George Grant?
C plus.
I also went with C plus.
Yeah, I just think like he- when you're being compared to Scott Fraser, it's hard to not look good.
You're spoiling who's next.
Like I'm not a big George Grant fan, but he's better than him.
Yeah,
So
yes.
that's all I've
I
got to
think
say,
we're
really.
better than him.
I-
Right, let's go. Right, Scott Fraser. I've put a D, and I'm terrified that we're apparently signing him permanently.
That's far too high for me. I'm going E minus or an F. F for
He
Fraser.
did get 2 assists.
Don't care. Don't care.
Well, one of them we were already 4-1 up. What was the other one?
Exactly.
I was at home.
It
He
was
played in Shankland or something.
was that not
It was
wasn't
post
it
split.
wasn't the Rangers game. It
No, it
was
was post split.
Kelly?
It was
No?
Kelly.
Was it
Yes,
Kelly?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, it wasn't the last 2 games because it was at home. Who the fuck did we play? No, Kelly was away. No, it wasn't Kelly. We drew 0-0 at Kelly.
St Mirren.
St
Dundee.
Mirren. St Mirren.
Was it
That's who
St
it
Mirren?
was. Yeah. No, St
No, we
Mirren was
played them
away.
there.
St
It
Mirren was
must have been
away.
Dundee then.
It must have been Dundee.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Regardless, I agree that those 2 assists shouldn't really push up. But in a
Yeah,
season
it's
that
a
we've
3
had,
0 win over Dundee.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we were already 2-0 up anyway.
Yeah.
So both these goals were pointless.
For his contributions.
Yeah, sorry.
I can picture it now.
Yeah, he just plays him through and oh yeah, because Shankland goes, thank fuck. Because it's
It wasn't
weird.
even like a good finish
No,
either. From
it just
like
pinballs
Shankland
off
got
the
lucky
keeper.
with the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really an assist in my books. Like he made the pass, yeah, but it was a lucky goal. Like, come on. Who
I'm
are we
going
kidding
D.
here?
No one's getting lower than D considering the season we've had for
No,
me.
I'm going F Razor.
That's fair. So then
Please do not sign. I can't stress this enough. If we've
spending
got
money on them as
Danda and
well.
Spittle coming in allegedly, please no, there's no need for him to be here.
Yeah. Well, we then move on to the forward line. And we start with a man who only featured in kind of wee bits more towards the end of the season because of injuries, and it's Barry Mackay.
Oh, I, absence makes the heart grow fonder, but I'm going B minus.
I went C, but a lot of that is just because of how few games he played. And apart from the Livingston game, where he was admittedly great, I don't think he had that big an impact.
Can we agree on a C plus?
Yeah, fuck it.
And go.
Let's go with a
I'll
C
go down.
plus.
You come up.
We'll go with a C plus.
Because like again, he's another that I hold in very high esteem because due to the other players in the squad, he's one that will play that killer pass.
There's no one who can do what he can do in a moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I think he's maybe a victim of his own success in that regard, that I hold him to such a high level that I'm trying to justify a B minus, but can't really because again, like you say, missed a large chunk of the season. So I'd say he's done better than I've expected because I didn't really expect to see him. So
that's fair.
When he has played, he's done well. So yeah, C plus I think is justified.
We then move to Yutaro Oda.
who I like, but is a
Same.
greedy bastard from time to time.
But then in the times he's not is when he should be.
Exactly. So his decision making really irritates me.
Yeah.
I feel like once he's got that nailed,
He'll be
there's a real
great.
player in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will go for. I'll go for a Barry Mackay C plus. I'll go B minus for Oda. I feel like that could be generous though.
I have him down as a C plus, but I know what you mean by a B minus.
Somewhere in that range. He's probably
Yeah.
higher than Mackay.
Yeah, because he has had more of an impact on the season. But is he on
And
the
ultimately
level of
he's
Macaulay
another
Tate?
he's in that also that same bracket whereby it's a prospect that we've brought in because we're wanting to make
Yeah.
a profit and we're hoping to nurture that talent, develop that talent. There's something there, but for the love of God, his decision making is woeful from
Yeah.
time to time.
Speaking about a project player that was brought in, I was about to just say Yutaro Oda again. Kenny Vargas,
Hermano Loco!
the wee egg. What are you giving the wee egg?
I love Vargas. I do his mental. I'll go for. Oh, this could be really generous. I'll go to A minus.
I've also went A minus.
Okay, I'm happy with that then.
He's got
Yeah,
like
because that
14 goal contributions in his first season.
and another who I was thinking, if we wasted time and effort in trying to develop this guy, or would we be happy to see the back of? Is he going to be one of them like what if players? But he's impressed enough for us to have dished out a 5-year deal, and we don't do that a lot.
We don't. Mallory
Um,
Martin.
I mean, today I went to Waterstones and I've bought a Spanish dictionary, so I'm obsessed. I'm all in on that. I'm literally I'm front seat of the Kenneth Vargas hype train. I just love that little guy.
I love the idea that you finally get to meet him properly and just say the most
Rumble,
basic fucking Spanish.
oh
How
crumble.
where is the train station?
What do you think of the weather?
Yeah. Right. Well, we've both agreed with A minuses. I'm interested to see where you put this person because unbelievably, making 22 appearances, it's Liam Boyce.
22.
22 appearances this season.
I thought it was
16
like
in the
half of
league.
that.
16 in the league. Now, obviously, a lot of them are subs, right? It's not 22 start. I don't even think it'll be
Bloody
16.
hell.
I can tell you exactly how that is split as well. So 16 league appearances,
Really?
but I can
Boise?
no 13. Sorry, 13 for a
Even
combined.
still, it's one every 3 games in the
Yep,
league.
and he got 4 goal contributions in that time as well. Um,
Jesus.
4 in
That's
the.
impressive, actually,
I know
considering the little time.
he's so
Just goes
fucking
to show
good. I miss him
what a
so
player.
much.
What a player.
4 in Europe.
Yeah, I remember him in the Rosenborg game because
Yep,
the Devlin, the first goal he should score.
he should. Yeah, he should.
What?
4 there, 3 in
Wow.
the League Cup, and then 2 in the final uh, split games. So he played 22 games for a combined time of
Bloody hell.
930 minutes.
Again, he's another that I just hold in such high esteem.
Yep.
Oh, that makes the grading tricky. I'm gonna go for a C.
I went for a C plus because I
Yeah, I
love
get
him.
that. Yeah, I get
I
that.
bumped him up from a C to a C plus just because I like him.
Put it this way, I've said there his contributions in the limited time is impressive, but of a player of his caliber, I've just come to expect that because
Yeah.
he is just he's a
I
top
just did it,
footballer.
by the way. In terms of minutes to games, he's played the equivalent of 10 games.
That's nuts.
So he's
And
played
he's got what? 4
22,
goal
4
contributions
goal
in that time.
contributions. Yeah.
It's not bad going, is it? It's
Nearly
really not.
1 and 2 goal contributions.
It's really not. I'm happy with a C plus or a
Yeah,
C because he's top. It's just trying to get him on the park.
I know. Exactly. Penultimately, unless I've forgotten anybody, we have the 2 game sensation, Kiyosuke Tagawa.
Wait, hold on a second. the two-game sensation who has played a minimum of 5 games.
No, I just meant these final 2 games were
No, I
sensation.
know what you mean. The
Yeah.
St Mirren and
How
Rangers.
many?
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't even check how
Because what
many.
was
I
his
know
other
he's
goal?
definitely.
Partick Thistle.
Yeah. How many games did he play this season? What is your
Oh,
guess?
oh,
Obviously,
I.
including subs.
Oh God. I. I'll be astonished if it's more than Boyce.
It's not more than Boyce. I
I'll
can tell you
go
that.
18.
Oh, it's 20.
Oh, not far off.
Which, by the
Um,
way, it's now, this is entirely making me question every single stat I've just told you. Because Transfermarkt only has him down for 1 goal in the league when
oh
he
dear.
fucking has 2.
that,
Shocking.
that goal hasn't been credited elsewhere, has it?
Oh, it fucking better not have, by the
I
way.
mean, neither can be
No,
because they don't. Neither deflect on the way through. They're both clean finishes.
I'm checking
Transfer
right now
marked.
on
You're at it.
FootMob. I'm checking right fucking now. No, Tagawa. Tagawa. No, he's been given both. Transfermarkt just
Yeah,
can't be
aye.
arsed updating last game of the season, clearly.
It's very poor.
Anyway, I've
That's what
went with a
come to
C
expect.
just for those 2 games in the song. That's all I've done.
Yeah, I didn't expect much. Probably exceeded expectations toward the end because it actually looks like he's decent.
Yep.
C, yeah,
Yeah, I've went
okay,
with a C.
all right.
And then finally, Lawrence Shankland. If anyone gives them, well, fucking, I was about to say, if anyone gives them
It,
less than the equivalent of A plus or 10 out of 10, but Barry Anderson did, he gave him a 9, which is like, what more does he have to do?
I think that's just a marketing ploy, though, isn't it? Because he wears
Yeah,
number 9, they give him the 9. I ran out of superlatives, and is arguably been even better this season than he was last.
yep. And
So
considering he went the
it
first
has to be
9 games only scoring once, that is
exactly
absolutely
it has
insane.
to be an A plus. But
Yeah,
again, he maybe suffers from the Cochrane syndrome in that he's that good. Is he exceeding your expectations like he has mine this season?
yeah, he has
But
mine.
if somebody gave him a C because he's at such a level, I would understand it.
I
Do you
wouldn't
get where I'm coming
understand a
from?
C. Admit the
No,
lowest I'd
no, but I
understand
mean
is
in
a
terms
B
of like if
plus.
but if that's his average, like his
Even
average is
then,
just that ridiculously good.
nah, it's a minimum of A
It's an A
minus
plus
for
for
me.
me.
But yeah,
It's an A plus.
it's an A
It's
plus.
an A plus
He's
because
player of the year.
he's just the best. He's the best centre
Yeah.
forward that we've seen play for
Yep.
Hearts, and he's player of the year deservedly. Top league goals. I mean, the top goal scorer in the league plays for Hearts. What is happening?
It's never happened
We
in
are
our
in a
life.
simulation.
And then he's got to go this summer and we have to go back to the norm.
Listen, that's if he scores against Germany and puts himself in that shop window, we welcome the bids with open arms.
Right. We then go from players ranking to players individually as we have the categories. We have 4 of them.
Oh,
We
thank
have
God. I wondered where this was going. I thought, am I going to have to go further in
no,
depth
no, no,
for
no,
each
no,
and
no,
every
no.
player? I think we've bored everybody enough
No.
already.
We have 4 categories. We have moment of the season, goal of the season, young player of the year, and player of the year. And if you want, we can do game of the year. But I think it's probably going to be between. It's either going to be the Edinburgh Derby or the Rosenborg game. Pick between the 2 for years, I
No,
guess.
got to be one of the wins over Celtic. I'd
Oh
argue
fuck
Celtic
yeah!
Tynecastle.
Oh fuck! Actually, there's
That was good.
loads. There's
Yeah, that
loads
was
we
good.
can do. But we'll start with goal of the season. I have 3 to pick for, just to add flavour, because I think everybody
do you
will
know
say the
what?
same thing.
I'm going because I was there and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Was our goal at Airdrie in the cup? Was it
What
Grant or
one?
Shankland, the first one?
Oh, the first one, yeah,
The tidy
Shankland.
pass at Shankland. I'm going to go
Yeah,
for that because I loved that goal. I thought it
that
was
was
really well
great.
worked. Countless players involved. I can't give it to Alan Forrest because ultimately they bottled the derby. So I'm going to go for that goal at Airdrie. There, I
That's
said it.
good. I like that. I'll get
And a bit
through
of
my.
variety because I'm
Yeah.
assuming you're going Forest against Hibs.
No, I'm not. That isn't
Oh,
even in my.
nice.
That isn't even in my 3.
Oh, oh wow. Oh, talk to me.
Third is Devlin's goal against Livingston, where we passed it. Similar reasons.
Very
We passed
nice.
it about for fucking ages, and it was
Very
just a
nice.
great work goal.
Oh, I know
Secondly,
what one of these is. I know what one of these is.
Shankland versus St Mirren,
Great
December.
goal. Yep.
Loved that.
A great goal as well. right in the top banjo as well.
Yeah,
What a view I had of that from
class.
in. That was incredible. But I know what's coming here.
Do you? What's coming here?
Is it Kioske Tago against Rangers?
That is the actual answer. But no, my answer is the New Year's Derby Shankland 92nd minute against Hibs.
See,
It's
I
not.
get that because the finish is ridiculous, but you're ultimately combining moment and goal here, aren't you?
No, my moment of the season is different.
Oh,
That's why.
You're gonna go Devlin against Rosenborg.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Devlin against Rosenborg is my moment of the
Yeah.
season. Or Tagawa equalising against Rangers. Because we all went medal.
That was class. I, oh, moment to see. No, I have to go Shanklin because I was
That's
so
fair.
disappointed with that derby at Tynecastle. Ultimately, I wasn't in the country for it as well, so it was a mad dash to get to Ellis Folks' house and watch the game. Then her best friend is sat next to me, and her dad is like a couple seats over, so I've got to be on my best behaviour. It's the least I've ever celebrated an Edinburgh derby goal. I just went, I'd have been standing up and shrieking and running around the room if it was in my own gaff, but because I was in Canada with my missus's family, I had to keep it a reserve, double fist clench on the sofa and just go to myself.
That's why we ended up bottling it, because you didn't show the true emotion. It's shocking. Right.
Oh, that was magnificent. But in terms of actually being at the game, then Devlin at Rosenborg would take it, yeah.
That's fair. So we then move to the final two in terms of young player and player. Who have you got for young player? Now, we were speaking about this before we went on there. There's not many that are
Yeah,
actually eligible for this.
I'm not really sure who qualifies. I'm going to go because it's their first season at the club. I'm going to go Callum Neuenhoff if he's eligible. I think he is, isn't he?
He is eligible. And I think I'm between Neuenhoff and then I've also put Vargas in. So,
Oh, I do love Vargas.
so if you cover
Oh,
Neuenhoff, I'll
no.
cover Vargas, and we've got both of them covered in terms of. I think they've both been great.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I'll let you go with
I can't,
Vargas
yeah, I can't believe I
because
forgot all about Vargas. No,
because
no, no.
Neuenhoff's my guy. So I'll go with
Right,
Neuenhoff. You
okay.
go with
And
Vargas.
yeah, because he's
Right.
just a wonderful man. I'm going to get a Pura Vida neck tattoo and see what my folks think.
That is fucking on tape now, folks. So hold that over him. That needs to be the European trip. Get that going in the summer.
That's what, no, I'm saving the money for the European trip. Never mind the daft neck tattoo. It's not daft, Kenny. I love it.
I
It
was
looks
about to
great.
say that's a big statement.
It looks great. I'm going to get the Costa Rica flag at the ready. I love him.
And then, do we even need to speak about who is Player of the Year?
No, because it's
Well done, Michael
blindingly
McGovern.
obvious.
Smashed it.
Before he departs.
I'd give him it. Fuck it.
I know you would.
Yep.
Anybody with sense would give it to the main man.
Right, it's
Lawrence Shankland.
Yeah.
What a footballer. What a player. What a goal scorer. What a hero.
Right. We've spent too long on positives.
Oh,
We now
no.
need to go
Oh, no.
our predictions. Now, I will say, in terms of our predictions, in terms of those categories, we have fucking smashed it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good.
We are
For
oracles when it comes to individual player awards. Because top goal scorer, we both go with Lawrence Shankland. Player of the year, we both go with Lawrence Shankland. Now, I will say, the next two, best young player and signing of the season, we recorded this halfway through July when we had made a grand total of 2 signings. Frankie Kent and Callum Neuenhoff.
So we still got it wrong.
We made an agreement for signing the season to each pick one.
Okay.
I went with signing the season Callum Neuenhoff, and you went signing the season Frankie Kent. I would say you are correct. Frankie Kent was signing of the season.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And then we've both went best young
Neuenhoff,
player, Callum Neuenhoff. So
okay, that's
I
fine.
think
We
that
reached
is
a decent
solid
compromise.
predictions. Yeah,
we've done well
exactly.
there.
Right. League predictions. So the aim of this game is it's like golf. Lowest score possible. You get plus points for every position.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Oh, hey, you're not pissed about when preparing for this.
No, I have
you?
not. So lowest score wins, basically. And we will start
God.
from bottom to top.
I know who I went bottom.
Who do you think you went bottom for?
I think I went St. Jobby.
We both did. We both
Oh
went
dear.
with, at the time, Steve McLean's St Johnstone.
Who had just been beat off Stirling Albion
Yep,
4-0 at home in the League Cup.
correct. That was a big part of both of our
Yeah.
points. However, would just like to add, we both said if they sack McLean and get someone in, they've got a right good chance of staying up.
Oh,
So,
well, that's okay. Albeit I
however,
didn't think it'd be Craig Levine.
yeah, definitely not. But I actually said in that I thought it was going to be Nielsen.
Oh wow.
I said I wouldn't be surprised if Nielsen
I
got
wonder
it.
Would Robbie have taken that? That did come about before he went to Florida, didn't it?
Yeah,
Because I think he
because
was one of the favourites for it,
we were
wasn't
about
he?
to play them opening day, and I
That's
was
right.
like, the most us thing ever would be Nielsen taking this injustice job and beating us.
And then dicking us.
Yeah. So we both said St Johnston. In 11th place in the playoff position, do you remember who you said?
Has to be Livingston.
You correctly said Livingston in terms of that is who you said. I was very far off. This is my
You go
worst
Dundee.
position. I went with Dundee
That's
because I was just,
understandable.
yeah, I made the
It's
argument of
understandable.
every year they come up, we hear about how they'll suddenly be good and
Yeah.
they never are. But then this was the
Or
one year
this
where they
year.
actually are. So I was quite
But
off with
in
that.
fairness, and you weren't to know that they ultimately sacrificed the pitch for the playing personnel.
Very true.
You're not John Nelms. Nobody knew that.
Correct. Thank
So
God. But very true. So yeah, I was miles
so where
off
did
with that.
you must have had Livy 10th, surely.
So we moved to 10th. I did have Livy. Do you remember who you had in 10th?
I hope it's Ross County, but I don't think it is. It might be Dundee.
It's Dundee
Is
in
it? Oh
10th.
damn. Oh no. Again, same reasons that you say.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
It,
if anybody had Dundee top six heading into the season,
I know,
then they're a better man than me.
definitely. Moving into 9th place. We both agreed on this.
Ross County.
Ross County, yes. We both
Not
made the
far,
point.
because they finished what? Oh no, 11th.
Yeah, they
Oh,
finished
that's not
11th. Yeah, it's not
not
terrible.
too bad.
Now, again, you have to remember this is prior to the Derek Adams, Don Cowie revolution. We're still dealing with Malky Mackay in the dugout at the time. It's understandable that we're a wee bit higher and wee bit
McGregor
off.
money just wasn't enough to
Yeah,
elevate them this time around.
exactly. We moved
Hope
to
Don
8th.
Cowie does well though. Sorry.
Yes, love you, Don Cowie.
What a
Love
guy.
you. Who do you think you put in 8th position?
By the sound of your voice, it's a shocker.
I don't think
Something's
it's a
telling
shocker.
Someone's telling me it's St Mirren.
It is St Mirren. You had St Mirren
Yeah.
in 8th. But the reason I say it's not a shocker is because I take that crown because I had Kilmarnock
Oh
in
wow.
8th. Because my
Oof.
logic was I thought they'd do better than they did the season before, but not that much better. So they finished 10th the season before. I was predicting them to jump a couple of places, but then they did
I get that.
incredibly well. So I was miles off with that. We then move into 7th place. And your prediction here has a little addendum to it as well.
Motherwell?
Correct. You predicted Motherwell to finish 7th, and so did I. But you then made a massive point. I went to move
no.
on and continue with the predictions. And you went,
Oh,
hold on,
no.
McIver. And this is the exact quote. There is absolutely no chance in hell Theo Bair gets 5 goals.
Did I say that?
Yep.
Oh no. Oh
Now,
no.
I think most people would have said that at the start of this
Oh
season.
my god, I'm gonna go back and watch that. I had no idea that I said that.
Thinks Theo Bair won't even get 5 goals.
Oh my god.
He
Sorry,
proved you
Theo.
wrong. He proved
Sorry,
you
mate.
wrong.
Sorry. Do
6th
you see the
position.
clubs that are in for him, by the
Oh,
way?
Charlton, 800 grand. That's how they're getting rid of Scott Fraser to us. They're going, that's fine.
What?
Yeah, it's
Like
mad.
championship clubs, I thought St. Pauli were another that were
Yeah,
linked. Like,
it's
what is
crazy.
happening here?
And he'll be shit wherever he goes. It's like, Theo, stay there. You finally found it. You found a club where you're good at.
Wow. I'm all Theo Bair and Stuart Kettlewell and everybody connected with Motherwell Football Club. A massive apology.
We
Jesus.
then move into the top 6. Who did you have in 6th place?
I tipped Kelly for the top 6, and I'm going to assume that I put them there.
Correct. You did. You
Yeah.
had Kelly top 6. I had St Mirren. So I was a place off.
Not bad.
Again, I was making the point that was one of our big differences because obviously you had St Mirren finishing eighth. I thought they would cement themselves as top six. I just didn't think they'd actually do as well as they ended up doing.
Fair
But
enough. So what a place off, that's not bad.
yeah, it's not terrible. This is why our tables are quite a wee bit
Yeah.
off. Because
Our nearest challengers were
yes,
rotten.
we then move into fifth position. Who have you got, do you think?
Hibs?
You do have Hibs, and here's another little addendum, but this is a positive addendum for Adam Kennedy because you were incredibly confident saying there is no way Lee Johnson sees Christmas.
Yes.
And he didn't even see October. Never even saw Halloween.
A ropey start, and then I thought that they'd get somebody in. I actually thought that the Hibs hierarchy were somewhat competent and that they'd appoint a decent manager to elevate them.
Is the suggestion now.
Yeah, nailed it with Lee Johnson sacking, but not quite with the competent replacement.
I also had Hibs in fifth. Fourth position. Who did you? There's only two teams possible. Who did you have?
Aberdeen.
You did have Aberdeen. I had us. Because I was worried.
That's not terrible.
I was worried about Nazy, and I was just thinking. However, here's my little addendum. I said Barry Robson won't see Christmas, and he just made it the new year. So I'm taking that as a win. I'm taking it as a win.
I'd count that.
I said that Aberdeen would end up getting third, but because they sack Robson and get someone in to sort
to do a Barry Robson.
Yes, exactly. So yes, that of course means you had Hearts in third. So your first spot on. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And then what way round did you have the Old Firm?
Celtic first and Rangers second, right?
Correct. You got a quarter of the league spot on. I also had Celtic and Rangers, but that was all I got.
Even a broken clock tells the correct time twice a day, McIver.
Exactly.
It's not really too much to shout about top to third, but we'll take it.
So your score, obviously, you're hoping for like basically
as low as possible.
0 or 12 if you want to just say you get a point for the right thing, but
right, okay.
0 is what you're hoping for. You ended up getting 24.
Yikes.
I got 27. I was 3 off. Dundee killed me and Aberdeen killed me. It was the two that basically swapped places. That was 9.
Then, yeah.
9 points.
Aberdeen was a shocker for me.
Yeah. But, and
we both expected more from Hibs.
Yes, exactly.
I saw the vision with Kelly, whereas you bumped them up a couple of places, but not high enough.
Yeah.
You did better with St Mirren than I did. So I think we've done okay there. It's not too bad.
The biggest difference you had quite a few 3s, but you only had 1 4, whereas I had 2 4s and a 5. So who
was your 5? Aberdeen?
Dundee.
Oh, Dundee.
Yeah. So Dundee and Aberdeen kind of knacking me. And Killie. I just didn't believe in Killie. I didn't believe in Derek McInnes. But just to sign off on that section, a quote from you. Either we're idiots or we actually know what we're talking about. I think it's somewhere in the middle, actually.
Yeah, okay.
So, that brings an end to the season review. Overall, a very successful season. Loved it. Hopefully
Enjoyable campaign.
Yeah, hopefully we can emulate anything like it next season. However, before we move into the quiz, which we've got, you're not getting rid of us just yet this summer, because we are, of course, this week, this Friday, opening the European Championships in Germany as Scotland play Germany. So it's Perth to Paisley at the Euros once again. We will be releasing an episode on Tuesday where we'll be covering the Germany game. And then obviously we play on the Wednesday and we play on the Sunday. So then the week after we'll be covering both. And who knows, if we get out the groups, we do a third episode and however many more we get. It's going to be fun.
That would be really nice. That would be great if we were to document the Scottish national team finally getting out of a group stage at a major tournament. So fingers crossed.
But we will speak about all that. And obviously, next week's episode will be us speaking about our thoughts on the squad and stuff like that, which we haven't really covered in this, but we'll do then.
No,
review the Germany game and everything.
Apologies, gang. had we recorded this prior, then we might have had that little. This could have well been this, chatting about the squad, the upcoming championship, and whatever. But
Aye,
needs
but
must, I'm afraid.
that's fair. Get all the thoughts out your head and focus on the quiz because we have the final
Oh
quiz
dear.
of the
Oh
season.
dear. This could be tough.
As ever, we have a multiple choice, a true or false, two normal questions, and a who am I. Are you ready for the final quiz of the season?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Right, we start off with the multiple choice. How many goals did Hearts score in the league this season? Is it 52, 53, 54, or 55?
I had 54 in my head, so I'm going to go with that right off the bat.
He's off to a flyer. It's 54.
Yes.
Smashed it.
Yes.
Well
Come
done.
on. I'll take that. Don't know why that popped into my head just there,
Yeah,
but I must have had a look at the table somewhat recently. I
exactly.
don't know.
Speaking of
I will take
goals,
that.
Lawrence Shankland was, of course, our top goal
Oh,
scorer this season.
oh,
But who scored the next highest amount of goals?
oh. Got to be Vargas, isn't it?
He's 2 for 2. He's smashing it.
Nice, nice.
How many do you think he got?
Oh. I feel like this might just be league. No. 9?
Oh, he's getting a bonus point because he's got 9 as well. Spot on. He's smashing it. Yeah, he got
I feel like
14
you
goal
said that
contributions.
in the last episode or the last. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
14 goal contributions, 9
Was it
goals.
6 in the league and 3 in the
Yes,
cups?
yes,
Yeah,
it
aye.
is exactly that.
I do listen to what you say sometimes.
What a shock. It's only taken 166 episodes for it to become apparent. True or false? Xander Clark kept 14 clean sheets this season.
I said second only to Jack Butland, but the problem is I don't know how many he's kept.
And that is correct. He is the second only to Jack Butland.
I'm going to say false.
How many do you think he has then?
Is it not? It's either 15 or 16. Oh, is it? I'm going 16.
So Jack Butland, correctly, as you said, had the most amount with 18. Xander Clark has kept 15 clean sheets. So you're correct. It is false.
Oh.
You don't get a bonus point for how many he got, but fair play.
Take that.
Final question.
Smashing.
In no real surprise, Cammy Devlin picked up the most amount of yellow cards for Hearts this season with 13. But who was second with 12?
See, I'm thinking that Alex Cochrane is a bet builder staple selection here. 12's a lot, though.
12 is a lot.
He's the only one that makes sense. Mind you, Shanklin quite likes a booking. Try to think it. Benny's not going to have that many. Yeah, I'm going Cochrane.
The correct answer is Lawrence Shankland.
Oh, damn, I taught myself out of that one.
Cochrane only has 8.
Oh, wow. I thought it'd be more than that.
So did I, to be honest. I
Oh,
thought it was going to be Cochrane.
Oh,
You were
that's
so
annoying.
close
I
to getting
said
full
Shanklin likes
marks.
to book him. Oh, it's so annoying.
You got
Oh,
5
well,
out of
we
6
move.
if you include the bonus point as well. So that
We
is
move.
not
We'll
bad
take
at
it.
all.
That was not bad.
So
Oh, that's so annoying.
if you get this, who am I? And you could have ended the season getting full marks for the quiz.
Oh, I'm not gonna get the who am I though. That's all right. This will be some Bosnian loser that's played like 3 games that I've never heard of.
So, the who am I? I have played in Scotland, France, Greece, and
And
Switzerland.
Bosnia.
The only 2 trophies I've ever won in my career were domestic club cups. I have over 20 caps and represented my country at an international tournament. I arrived at Hearts under controversial circumstances, reportedly against my manager's wishes. And I scored in a historic game for Hearts. Who am I?
Ooh. What were the nations that they played in? Sorry, before I rudely cut you off.
I have played in Scotland, France, Greece, and Switzerland.
Scotland, France, Greece, and Switzerland.
As I just
I'm
get
gonna ask
blinded. For the folk who are watching, I've just been blinded by Wikipedia.
I'm gonna ask for the playing position first and foremost.
This man is a centre back.
Well, that's good. Because I had Ibrahim Tal in my head.
Okay.
But Scotland, France, Greece, and Switzerland. With that, oh God. Oi, oi, oi. Can you read the clues again,
Of
McIver?
course I
Sorry.
can. I have played in Scotland, France, Greece, and Switzerland. The only two trophies I've ever won in my career were domestic club cups. I have over 20 caps and represented my country at an international tournament. I arrived at Hearts under controversial circumstances, reportedly against my manager's wishes, and I scored in a historic game for the club.
The caps thing's throwing me off. If I asked what country they represented, then I'd have a better idea. Because is Ibrahim Tal Senegalese? Oh God! See the cups. Like he has to. He was in that cup winning team for us. But elsewhere, France, Greece, or Switzerland. And I'm fairly certain Burley didn't want to sign him. Yeah, I'm gonna ask what nationality was this player, McIver?
This nationality was player. This player's nationality was Senegalese.
Yeah, it's got to be Ibrahim Tal in it, surely.
Correct. Well
Yeah,
done.
nice,
Got
nice.
it. You could have had full
Whew.
marks for the first time ever. You've never
Oh,
got full marks.
I
You could have
know,
ended the season with
I
it.
know. That bastard Lawrence Shanklin, what's he ever done?
Exactly. I love that Shankland, after the season he's had, is the reason you didn't get that. That's
Oh,
amazing. So, I've played in Scotland,
a
France.
five. I did get a
You
five.
did
I'll
get a
take that.
five. True. So, yeah, he's played in all those countries. The only two trophies he's won
It was
is
with Bern or somebody or Basel.
the
It's
Scottish
very
Cup.
strange.
It was the French Cup
Oh wow.
with oh fuck, I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Strasbourg.
No, Sochaux.
Oh, so sure. Wow.
Sochaux, aye, I reckon. Um,
Fair
the
enough.
other clues were I have over 20. He played for Senegal over 20 times, 22 times to be,
An AFCON or
and he played it in AFCON. Yep, correct. And then you were right. I arrived at Hearts under controversial circumstances, reportedly against my manager's wishes. His little bit on Wikipedia says Ibrahim
was it
Tal moved
Burley
to,
that didn't
it
want
was
him?
Burley with
Yeah.
tabloid. So he moved in August 2005 in controversial circumstances, with tabloids speculating that he was signed by Romanoff against the wishes of then head coach George Burley. Burley commenting on the signings of Tal and Brazilian Camisola. Burley
Oh,
himself
crikey.
would only admit that the situation was not ideal. Tal then appeared to become the victim of internal club politics, as despite his reported £8 grand a week salary, he spent the
Bloody
first
hell.
7 months of his Hearts career either sitting on the bench or in the stand. But then, of course, Jose Goncalves gets hurt, and the Webster ruling
Oh yeah,
situation
remember that?
means that Ibrahim Tal starts to form a partnership with Stephen Presley and then
Yeah,
goes
he
on against
played in the
Gretna.
cup final, didn't he?
Yep,
He
he
started in the cup
starts
final.
alongside Presley. And then finally,
Wow.
I scored in a historic game for Hearts. You freaked me out by saying a Bosnian guy because he scored in our first game in the Champions League versus
Sarajevo?
Bosnian side Zroke Briež.
Oh, it's a rookie Brieg. Wow. Yeah.
I was like, fuck
Jesus.
me, he's got to get Ibrahim. He's already got Bosnia on the mind.
Wow. I had it in my head that he scored against, I don't know, like a Braga or somebody. I don't know where the hell that's come from.
He might have, but it just made a point being like
Siroki
his
Brieg, that's
first
right.
goal for
I'm pretty sure
us.
I went to that at Murrayfield with my
I
dad.
did as well. I was
Wow.
there. So yeah, you did
What a time
very
to be
well.
alive. Yeah,
A
that's
perfect.
not bad.
You did the equivalent of an A in the quiz. Very fitting of the season that we've just had.
Nice. Nice.
So, massive thank you for listening to this review. No, it's a bit longer, but of course it's going to be. And a massive thank you for listening to us this whole season. It's been wonderful. It adds so much to the season being able to speak about it and getting all you guys' comments and just general support has been absolutely wonderful. And I assume you echo the same sentiments.
Absolutely. It always is. It's really pleasing. I love seeing people talk positively about the podcast. Love people coming up and saying, appreciate the podcast or keep the podcast up. Like, really enjoying it. It makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So, massive, massive thank you. We'll be back next season, but of course, we won't be gone in the short term, at least, as we will be back with Perth to Paisley at the Euros next week, speaking about everything to do with the Germany game, where Lauren Shankland has taken us to victory against the Germans.
Could be leading that line. Fingers crossed.
It's going to be amazing. But generally, if you have enjoyed this season or this episode, whatever, please do leave a like on YouTube if you have been watching it, comment as well, subscribe, do all that kind of part. Leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you've been listening to us, we are at Perth to Paisley on all the socials, perthtopaisley@gmail.com if you want to fire us over an email. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can catch me watching the highlights of Hearts' infamous nearly run to the Champions League, including that victory over Saroki Brieg, but I might skip the AK Athens matches at Adam T. Kendo. And what about yourself, mate?
I am at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to speak about the Scotland game at the Euros. Loving life. It's going to be great. We're totally not going to get battered. Can't wait for it. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care, Monogites!